Digimon Up is not a game that I would really normally get into. And there's a reason for that. It's a mobile game. Now, mobile games have a really bad reputation. I'm starting to think that that reputation is entirely valid. Now, the reason for that is this game is really bad. I was one of the early adopters of this game. I was one of the people who found the game on the Play Store. And I was quite excited to actually play it. To play a game that is genuinely... It looked like it was going to be a bit more like the Tamagotchi kind of experience. The I think they call them Digivices. Don't attack me if that's not what they're actually called. I was excited to play it because it looked genuinely like it was going to be one of those kinds of experiences. Raising a virtual pet, making them battle, hoping that they make it through and maybe have a restore point for those who are particularly sensitive to losing creatures like I am. I never liked the fact that you lose your Tamagotchi and they're just gone. But that aside, I was hoping that it was there. It wasn't there. What we got instead was a generic idler. Now, an idler is a kind of game that, in essence, you are pouring money into the game. And you are pouring so much money into the game that the game eventually kind of gives you a few wins, and you start to win levels easier and things look a little bit brighter for you. And they keep this going, and they essentially milk you of a bunch of money. That's the whole business model. It isn't about fairness, it isn't about rewarding the player, it's not about community, it's not about building trust or anything like that. It's about taking a franchise, it can be any franchise, and milking them for as much as they can. And this practice is not new. This practice is actually really quite old. I've played tons of games like this. Tons. And I'm really disappointed that it turned out to be another one of these games, because these idlers fall into one of two categories. The ones that are actually genuinely community focused and care about what you're doing, care about the fact that the community should all work together, has lots of outreach and community events and things like that, and they keep you engaged. So an example of a game that does it really well is Capybara Go. And many a time when I was training to be a teacher and when I was doing other jobs that involved a lot of commute, Capybara Go was a go-to. When they started piling on the insane amount of collaborations and all of the insane stuff, that was when I kind of switched off from it. But it was never unfair. It always felt like you could do everything that you needed to do for free. This game does not feel like that. This game wants you to spend so much money, a ridiculous amount of money. Now let me just tell you, if you don't have the money to spend and you really love Digimon, there are other much more affordable ways of enjoying the game that don't involve spending money on a soulless idle game. And I apologize for the camera angle changes, but I just want to make this point really clear. You don't need to spend money on video games, like on your mobile. There are plenty of very affordable, if not free video games that will not punish you for not spending money. This game punishes you for not spending money. It frustrates you. You adopt your little Digimon and you want to see them do well. Well, that gives you an incentive to actually try and make them do well. There is no two ways about it. This game is manipulating you into spending money. And that isn't okay. That's not all right. As a business practice, that just isn't acceptable. Now, that's the bulk of this whole argument. Don't buy this game. At its current state, at the current side of all of this, don't buy this game. And when I say buy, let me explain more clearly, because the game is free. you get the game for free, but you get the frustration for free as well. You get infinite amounts of frustration. You have to pay to improve in the game. And if you don't, you will be repeatedly frustrated and frustrated and frustrated. It's the most predatory business practice I've genuinely ever seen. And it's done in the most predatory way as well. Because you'll go against the big bads from Digimon. And that in itself kind of gets you driven and pumped. Oh, I've got to get the timing of my attacks right and things like that. You don't have control over that. The game takes over that. So what's your incentive to keep playing? Now, that's the bulk of it. Me saying, don't play this game. But I'm also saying, listen to the story first before you make a decision. And the story is what's coming up next. So I downloaded the game and I was quite excited. I thought, oh wow, I don't remember wishlisting this game. And signing up to the pre-install. And for the first, literally said, day of the game, I was sending my friends screenshots after screenshots, showing them recordings saying, oh wow, the sound sounds really good and everything sounds really good and I'm really enjoying the experience. Eventually, it got to the point where I was seeing more and more pop-ups. More and more, you should buy this, you should buy that. Watch an advert for this, watch an advert for that. I ignored it. I didn't care. I was like, right, this is fairly kind of, it's fine for the game type it is. It's claiming to be free. So we expect that. But as time went on, I noticed that more and more of these elements that I really don't like were coming into the fore. And one of these elements I really don't like is they show you a really impressive, powerful creature, in this case a Digimon, and they literally say, if you don't get this one, you're not going to pass the levels. Well, so you're going to have to. And your odds of getting them are really quite rare. So you're going to have to spend a bit of money, aren't you? Yeah, it's only about £2-3, don't worry about it. Well, people have addictive personality disorders. Thankfully, I don't in this regard. The only thing I'm addicted to is the 2p machines at the the arcade. But some people do genuinely have addiction problems, and this game plays on that, as I said before. And once they've got those things, they will say to the community, look, I'm doing really well, you should do the same. And that's exactly what these predatory games are trying to do, create a false sense of community. And of course there'll be a Discord, and the Discord people will all be saying, oh, just buy like the £3 pack, or buy the £6 pack, or the £10 pack. It'll support the creators. You want to support small creators, right? Well, here's a hint. If they have the money to back and buy the rights to a Digimon game, like the assets and all of these things, and buy the license for it, they're not a small indie company. It's absolutely insane that this is the case. It's insane that people are falling for this. And to tell you the truth, from what I've seen, people are not falling for this. People are literally looking at it and saying, I do not agree with anything that's going on. You promised me one thing. You promised me the ability to raise my own Digimon. You promised me a nostalgia trip. And indeed, I was sucked in for the first day, 2 days, 3 days. And then in the end, it just turns out to be predatory slop. And here is the ultimate no-no. There is no account feature. If you paid money to boost your Digimon and you uninstalled at this stage, you have lost all your money and you've lost your progress. No refunds, no anything. So, and I found that out because I didn't spend any money, thankfully, as I said, but I uninstalled because I was having a bit of a time with it. I said, well, yeah, it's taking a bit too much of my time up, taking a bit too much of my energy just even thinking about this thing. It's becoming a little bit too involved. Like the slog was starting. So I uninstalled, and when I uninstalled, I saw all of these people, like I think it's like up to 4,000 or something like that from memory. 4,000 plus people are all saying the same thing. I got suckered into playing this game. I don't want to play it anymore. 1 star. The game right now is sort of teetering between 2.3 stars and 1.9 or something like that. It's really bad. Now, of course, they will do what all developers do, the developers of this game. They will literally say to people, go on the store if you're enjoying the game and rate it 5 stars. Again, more predatory practices. This is not a Digimon game. This is a generic idler with a Digimon skin. I played plenty of these types of games. As I say, Capybara Go is a really good one. It's probably sucked up way too much of my time on the train and on the bus and things like that. This one is bad. There are good idler games out there. There are good phone games out there. God's sake, on most modern phones, you can play up to PlayStation 2, Nintendo 64, all of these backlog of games on emulators. You can do all of these wonderful things, but games like this are what stop the native mobile movement from actually being a thing. I would actually rather play Candy Crush. Genuinely, I would rather play Candy Crush because it is less predatory, and I still think that game's really predatory. It is less predatory than this because it isn't telling you to buy things as well as watch ads. I just don't see why this game exists other than to exploit people's nostalgia. And it's really upsetting to me that Digimon is the latest victim of this. As I said to my friend, I was hoping this would be our Pokemon Go. Because as I said, Pokemon has been taken by normies and all of these other weird people who've all of a sudden decided that they care about this thing that I've always cared about. And now Digimon is kind of by the sidelines, and, Dragon Quest Monsters is even more by the sidelines. But, all of these things are becoming, more and more rare. And I thought Digimon was going to break out into becoming not ubiquitous, not universal, like Pokemon has. I'm hoping for the opposite, to tell you the truth. Not obscurity, but I want it to remain niche. I just hoped that it would become something bigger. I hoped that it would present something better, a better experience for Digimon fans. Indeed, it has all, and I mean all, of the Digimon tamers that you could imagine as buddy support. It has all of the Digimon that you could ever want, from what I've seen. But they're all paywalled, so what's the point? This is, and I said it before and I'll say it again, this is exactly why mobile gaming has a bad reputation. I'm disappointed. There's no way to fix it either. You could remove all the ads. It wouldn't make a difference. You could reduce the price of all of the packages. It wouldn't make a difference. The thing that got me over the line was that they gave us really, really good SSR, super rare, I guess, tier equipment, and it's really cute. Because I think it's, I can't remember which Digimon it is, but like it's a little bit like the Pikachu ones. It's got the flappy ears. Like, it's really cute, but then you find out it's not actually that good, and it gets replaced immediately when you reach like level 40 odd. I'm just really disappointed in this game. I wanted it to be so much better. I wanted to have a game that was like Pokemon Go, but wasn't dragging me down into the pits of just despair with its, oh, you caught a Pokemon, oh, it's really bad. Oh, you caught a Pokemon, oh, it's really bad. Oh, the raids don't exist anymore. because nobody in your area is playing and we set the bar too high. Oh well, never mind. Oh, there's exclusive Pokemon. Like, I didn't want any of that. I wanted a replacement experience that was a little bit like it and had a bit of a flaw to it that's a little bit like Pokemon. Pokemon Go, that is. We didn't get that. We got disappointment. Oh well, never mind. Thank you for watching.